Sounds of the week on iRadio.
موضوع بتاع مستشفى جبهة التعليم بجد مستشفى بدون مساعدة خاصة رسالتي ده ماشي خاص لناس القلوب الرهين وناس بتاع فعل الخير والمنظمات ما نفتخروا بإنه لا حكومة كل شيء حكومة ما أقدر بعمل لنا كل شيء. أنا بجد مستشفى تعبان قبل أسبوعين لورا أنا مشيت مستشفى بتاع جوبا سراير ما فيها بدأت تعديل فيه تراب الله ده هو جبت ملاية أربط فيه بتلقى سراير ثاني حدائق خمسة من هنا مراتب ما فيه يعني مهنوم بقى ما في أمراض كل يوم في المستشفى. الناس برضه يساعدوا بجد يعني مستشفى كده ناس يوم يسجلوا زيارات كده ناس يمشوا في كله عنبر كل عنبر زول يمشي يشوف كده في شنو هناك صعوبات أقرب واجه ناس في المستشفيات هناك بجد مهنوم ما في لناس تلقى مرضى يوم أمراض في المستشفى ناس قاعدين في أحياء لكن ما عرفنا الحاصل شنو في المستشفى. بجد مستشفيات تعبان جدا والله. مستشفى در له مساعدة مراتي ما في انت زول بتاع فعل الخير لو اشتريت لك كله مستشفى 5 مرتبة ولا 3 مرتبة ساعات تشال مرتبة خفيف ده يرقدوا فيه مريض انت عارف حسرات قدو شنو ربنا بكتب لك وعجل حقك. انت بتلقى برضه في مريض في مستشفى خالبه بتابعوا أدوية.
Sounds of the week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. The Ministry of Mining has suspended the mining and exploration license for small-scale companies in Western Bahar al-Ghazali State effective November 1st. The government of Lakes State has announced the beginning of a comprehensive disarmament campaign targeting illegal firearms held by civilians aimed at restoring peace and order across the state. And a civil society leader has welcomed the SSPDF's order for evacuation of disputed Biothagang fishing island, saying it will give room for dialogue between the two communities of Duk Twitch East in Jonglei State. These is stories and more coming to you in the news bulletin with me, Wol Mapal. Now the news in detail. The Ministry of Mining has suspended the mining and exploration license for small-scale companies in Western Bahar al-Ghazali State effective November 1st. According to an order dated October 30th and seen by iRadio, the ministry said the suspension is to pave the way for a countrywide geological survey. In a separate order, the ministry summoned all holders of exploration and small-scale mining licenses in Western Bahar al-Ghazal for an hygiene meeting on November 4th in Juba. The ministry directed all companies to attend the meeting without fail. Western Bahar al-Ghazal State is among the states with known gold deposits, although there are no official records on the quantity of gold available. Reports indicate that most gold mining takes place in Raja County, located northwest of Wau Town, the state capital. In March this year, the Commissioner of Raja County said 5 gold miners, including 2 security personnel, died inside a flooded pit at a mining site in the Dulu area. Commissioner Addison Kanjula Musa said the miners were hired by a local mining company to assess the condition and accessibility of the cave when it suddenly collapsed, killing the 5 and injuring another. The government of Lakes State has announced the beginning of a comprehensive disarmament campaign targeting illegal firearms held by civilians aimed at restoring peace and order across the state. The move follows recent deadly escalations in inter-communal clashes, cattle raids and ambushes along the Rumbek-Ural and Rumbek-Tony roads. Speaking to iRadio yesterday, Lakes State Minister of Information and Communication William Koji Karjok said the disarmament campaign is intended to restore stability and secure transport routes.
We use those who hide firearms, and that is a red line for them to use it within the town. It is not allowed. That is, the government does not tolerate our local youth carrying arms along the highways of Lake State, or rather to be seen within the towns of Lake State. So it's not allowed, and now the operation is on. Disarmament is ongoing within the towns of Lake State, including the highways.
Koji added that local leaders and communities have been urged to cooperate with the exercise to ensure peace and stability across the region. According to the officials, 7 people, including a woman and a 12-year-old girl, have been killed and 5 others injured in the state this week. A civil society leader has welcomed the SSPDF's order for evacuation of the disputed Biothagang fishing island, saying it will give room for dialogue between the two communities of Duktwich East in Jonglei State. In an order released yesterday, General Paul Nang, the Chief of Defence Forces of the National Army, directed the evacuation of the fishing island, which has been at the centre of deadly clashes between sections of the Twitch and Duke counties. The same order also instructed armed youth in Tony East to Warabi State to immediately stop all unnecessary movement and voluntarily hand over their guns to the authorities. Speaking to Ivory this morning, activist Boldeng Bol, chairperson of the Jonglei Civil Society Network, said the move will save lives and create a conducive environment for dialogue between the communities.
It is unfortunate that many lives have already been lost and properties have also been destroyed. This is due to government's forever inaction since this conflict started in 2023. Nothing constructive or nothing of this sort has either the government of Jonglei or the government of the country ever decided to take. However, this is to appreciate the recent SSPDF's intervention by ordering the evacuation of Biothagang to give room for dialogue between or amongst the aggrieved Duke and Twitches County communities.
He further urged the conflicting communities to comply and called on the army to respect civilian settlements and livelihoods while occupying the fishing site.
Even as we appreciate this and welcome this initiative, I want to urge the conflicting communities to comply and also urge the army to respect civilian settlements and livelihoods while occupying this fishing site. It is nonetheless imperative to note that the intention is to save lives and create an environment for dialogue, which we expect to kick off immediately once the evacuation is completed.
You're listening to iRadio News. The Dutch ambassador to South Sudan has urged lawmakers and government institutions to speed up the passage of the Family Bill and other equality-related laws aimed at protecting and promoting the rights of women and girls in the country. Ambassador Paul Tholen made the call during the opening of the 2-day National Conference on Women, Peace and Security in Juba yesterday. The conference was held under the theme Restoring Hope and Commitment for Action, Advancing Women's Role in Peace Building. Ambassador Tholen emphasized that achieving gender equality starts with ensuring that equal rights for women and men are clearly established in the law. He said when legal frameworks uphold equality, institutions such as the police, judiciary, civil registry, land authorities, tax bodies, and banks are obliged to protect and promote women's rights.
What we have learned from these programs is that at the start, equal rights for women and men should be firmly embedded in law. In that way, the police, the judiciary, the civil registry, the land titling department, the tax revenue service, and the banks and other institutions all have an obligation to argue in favor of women's rights. This is all most relevant for handling gender-based violence cases, guaranteeing inheritance for women, the right to own land, the right to divorce, the right to decide about their own body, their sexual and reproductive health rights, and having the right to vote, and all other types of rights that will enable women and girls to have the same opportunity as men and boys. Advocacy, awareness, creation, and full, meaningful participation of both men and women is crucial in the lawmaking process.
The envoy expressed concern over the continued delay in passing the Family Bill and 5 other key equality-related bills. He appealed to members of parliament to act swiftly to advance the rights of women and girls. Ambassador Tholen also called on the government, communities, civil society and other stakeholders to continue working together to promote gender equality and empower women.
I would like to call upon my colleagues in the development arena and the government of South Sudan to spare no effort to strengthen the capacity to champion the global cause for women. Because with you, the voices of girls and women will never be lost. Equal rights needs constant work and vigilance. And let me mention in this context the adoption of the Family Bill as one of the 6 bills, all equality related, that are being delayed in being adopted in Parliament. Let us hope that lawmakers in Parliament will act soon. May the government, communities, civil society organizations and other committed players continue to jointly focus on these crucial aspects.
Moving on with our stories, the Commissioner of Yei River County says the absence of a resident judge has created a backlog of court cases and led to overcrowding in the county's prison. Speaking to our reader yesterday, Commissioner Emmanuel Taban Seme said many detainees have been held in remand for months without trial, resulting in congestion at the prison facility. Taban said a new judge has been assigned to the county but has not yet arrived, adding that he has received assurance from the judicial administration in Juba about the judge's development.
What we have been lacking is only the judge, and the judge also was there, but due to some health issues, he went back to Juba. But currently, we have already got an assurance. We were expecting him to arrive here yesterday, but due to some logistic arrangement, and expecting him to come in at least by next week. But we also feel concerned as the authority that since the Yei is coming back into its normal situation, and there's a lot of cases, and without implementing rule of law, people will not feel that. Yes, we think that it is good if you can really construct another bigger space where we can admit or accommodate the legal administrations, where the public prosecutor, attorney, plus the supporting staff will be fixed or will be accommodated in, so that if any person has a complaint, you will know that yes, that is the office.
Commissioner Taban also said the county's police station remains too small to meet the growing administrative and security needs. It revealed that a new office for the public prosecutor has been completed with support from development partners.
Through help and support from the partners, we managed to get some funds, and yesterday we received it officially. The police station, yes, the space is not enough. Needs really rehabilitation. The prison currently is full, and it has also some challenges, like the food supply for the inmates. It's one of the challenge. So, and then add into the absence of the judge on grounds, so the pending cases has accumulated. There's a remand who are supposed to be taken to the court, but because the judge was not around, so they are there, and the number is going. Leave alone the issue of the food, it become another challenge. Those who are supposed to supply the prison because of this financial crisis are not longer supplying. Sometimes it delays, sometimes it don't.
Taban appealed for continued government and partner support to restore full judicial operations in Yei, saying access to justice and proper prison management are vital for maintaining peace and stability in the county. You are listening to iRadio News. Finally, before regional international stories, a senior women's leader has called for greater participation of women in leadership and peace processes in South Sudan, saying women make up more than half of the country's population. Mariam Suleiman, the Women, Peace and Security Specialist at UN Women in South Sudan, said despite their numbers, women's participation in leadership and peace efforts remains below 26%. She noted that the law of representation violates the 2018 peace agreement, which guarantees women a 35% share in all leadership positions. Mariam said if South Sudan is truly committed to peace, every policy, project and partnership must begin with the recognition that women are the cornerstones of peace in the country. She made the remarks during the opening of the two-day 5th National Conference on Women, Peace and Security in Juba yesterday.
Women make up more than half of our population in South Sudan, which of course it makes sense that their participation should be more meaningful, especially in leadership and in peace processes. Unfortunately, their participation in leadership and peace processes remains below 26%, even though the peace agreement has guaranteed 35%. Women are not just victims of beneficiaries in peace. They are agents of peace, they are architects of peace, and across the country, women have led about 60% of community dialogues, but unfortunately without recognition and often without resources. This tells us something, that when women are included, peace is not only achieved, it lasts. We must build stronger coalitions, and we must connect national leaders with grassroots networks to ensure that the voices from the grassroots is heard at the national level. We must move from isolated efforts to collective action that truly shapes our national agenda, peace building should be designed with women and not for them.
The conference is held under the theme Restoring Hope and Commitment for Action, Advancing Women's Role in Peace Building. It aims to raise awareness on strengthening women's leadership and participation in building lasting peace in the country. This is our Radio Afternoon News. Now to the regional international stories. It is my colleague Lasuba Memo.
Thanks, Wol Mapal, making headlines on the African soil and elsewhere. A South African court has ruled that Nobel laureate Albert Lutili's 1967 death was the result of an assault by apartheid police, overturning decades of claims that it was an accident. An inquest held under the apartheid government concluded that Luthuli, the first African to win the Nobel Peace Prize, died after being struck by a freight train while walking along a railway line. But activists and his family had long cast doubt on the findings, and South Africa's government reopened the case this year. A judge on Thursday ruled that the anti-apartheid hero died as a result of a fractured skull and a cerebral hemorrhage associated with an assault. His family has welcomed the judgment. Elsewhere, Jamaica Information Minister Dana Morris Dixon has said at least 19 people have died as a result of Hurricane Melissa. As search and rescue efforts continue and authorities try to get aid to hit areas. Other officials said the hurricane, one of the most powerful to strike the Caribbean, has also killed at least 30 people in Haiti. In Jamaica, Dixon said there are entire communities that seem to be marooned and areas that seem to be flattened, adding that there are devastating scenes in western regions. Finally, UK's Prince Andrew is being stripped of his prince title and will leave his Windsor Mansion Royal Lodge. The King's brother, known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, will move to the royal estate in Sandringham, Norfolk. Andrew gave up his other royal titles earlier this month, including the Duke of York, after more questions about his private life. In a posthumous memoir, Virginia Giuffre repeated allegations that as a teenager she had intimacy affairs with Andrew on 3 separate occasions. Andrew has always denied the claims. In a statement, Giuffre's family called her an ordinary American girl who brought down the British prince. That's all making headlines on the African soil and elsewhere. Back to you, Wol Mapal.
Vote of thanks. La Super Memo for the regional international stories. Up next is sports with Madrama James.
Let's have a look at some of the fixtures happening in the Premier League as it enters match week 10th this weekend with a host of thrilling encounters. Arsenal face Burnley, while defending champion Liverpool will be desperate to rediscover their winning touch when they host an informed Aston Villa. In another match this weekend, Nottingham Forest will take on Manchester City, Tottenham Hotspur will host Chelsea, West Ham United versus Newcastle United, Manchester City will welcome Bournemouth, and Sunderland versus Everton. Meanwhile, Real Madrid, who have beaten Barcelona in last weekend El Clasico, but the game exposed a problem in both the camps, from the difficulties in dealing with the Vinicius to the concerning recent form of the Catalans. Madrid's Brazilian superstar Vinicius finally issued an apology on Wednesday, 3 days after his team defended arch rivals Barca 2-0 following his Harvard being substituted at the Santiago Bernabeu. Hans Flips Barca must bounce back at home to Elche on Sunday after suffering a second defeat in their last 3 domestic outings, a run that has followed a defeat against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League.
You're listening to our Radio News, and to end this bulletin, here is a quick recap of our headlines once again. The Ministry of Mining has suspended the mining and exploration license for small-scale companies in Western Bahar al-Ghazali State effective November 1st. The government of Lakes State has announced the beginning of a comprehensive disarmament campaign targeting illegal firearms held by civilians aimed at restoring peace and order across the state. And a civil society leader has welcomed the SSPDF's order for evacuation of disputed Biothaganj fishing island, saying it will give room for dialogue between the 2 communities of Duktwich East in Jonglei State. That is the end of our afternoon news. If there is a story or an event you would like our reader to cover or report about, Please don't hesitate to send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iRadio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at half past the hour. My name is Wol Mapal on behalf of the news team. Thank you for listening.